I like to use the darker colored sugars because they give the sugar a really, really beautiful color. So I'm going to start with making my pansy sugar. I'm using 1 3/4 cups of confectioner sugar, right in your Cuisinart or your food processor or whatever it is that you have. And then I'm going to use about 1/4 cup of flowers. And I'm actually just going to toss the flowers right in here. I'm going to de-stem them, take the bottoms off. And then once I've got a good heaping 1/2 cup or so of flowers in there, I'm going to whir the sugar in the food processor. Oops, I don't want that. Whir that up. Whir that up. And what this does is it serves the purpose of getting the flavor of the flour all the way through the sugar. So you get a lot more of the flavor of the flour than if you just were cooking with it chopped up. And the other thing that it does is it gives you this really beautiful color. So it's turned that sugar from white into almost a purple color. I've got the 1 3/4 cups of sugar and my 1/2 cup of pansies. Then I'm adding 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, and I really use good cocoa powder here. It does make a difference. I've got rice flour. It's happens to be, so this recipe happens to be gluten-free, which is really nice for all of us out there who have gluten intolerance. And I've got 2 teaspoons of rice flour. Now, if you don't have rice flour around, don't panic. You can substitute in cornstarch if you want to. You still have gluten-free cookie dough. I'm adding a little bit of salt. I would say it's 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a pinch of salt, either way. Now, when you've got all of your dry ingredients in your bowl, just kind of give them a good toss. This is such a quick recipe. I love it. It comes together in minutes, and the cookie dough can be kept in the refrigerator once you've made it for a couple days. So you can make it and then pop it out for a party another time. And then I've got 2 egg whites. 2 egg whites measures 2 liquid ounces, but I've already done the work of separating the eggs. And now I'm going to mix, use my good strong forearms to get that batter all nice and wet. You're going to feel like it's never going to come together. It's only going to be powdery, but you can see that within, 10 batter turns, you're starting to get a dough that comes together as nice and dark and glossy. Now, before it's all mixed in, what I want to do is I want to get the rest of my ingredients. And the rest of my ingredients are some chopped up chocolate chunks, about 1/2 cup, more or less. If you don't want to use chocolate chunks, you can use nuts. Pecans work really well. Walnuts work really well. I wanted to keep this a hypoallergenic cookie, so I'm actually just using chocolate chunks. And then I've got some more pansies. I like to see the flowers in my cookie, so these I'm going to roughly chop about 1/2 cup of them. When you de-stem the pansies this time, all you're going to do is give them a rough chop with your knife. Gather them up. And into your bowl. And then you're going to continue the mixing. Use your arm power. You're going to need it. My batter's pretty thick. You might have a thinner batter. Don't you worry. Either way, it's going to come together just fine. And you can see that it almost resembles a brownie batter, right? But it's nice and even. You don't see any streaks of flour in there anymore. Or there's no flour, but you don't see any streaks of anything that's not liquid. So you don't see any sugar, you don't see any cocoa powder. It's all combined and uniform. So I have my cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. Parchment paper is your best friend. Helps you. You don't have to worry about cleaning up. And so that I know that I'm getting uniform sizes, I use a disher. but you could use just a tablespoon. And you can see the pretty little flowers still sticking into it. And we're going to go right to the oven with this. So these are our cookies all ready to go. And you can see that the little flowers are still sticking out there. You take them off. You see how moist and tender and delicious that batter is. Looked like it was going to be dry, but nope. Nice tender batter. You let them bake for about 16 minutes and you get this beautiful glossy coat on top. And cookies. Voila.